Hello, everyone. Or few people will probably be watching this. This won't be a very long stream because I'm going on two Newcastle previews tonight. So this is going to be quite interesting. So I'm quite short for time, but I've got about half an hour before the first one. So I thought I'll just come on for 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, depending what comments we get. Because quite frankly, I think most Sunderland fans are livid with this, and rightly so. It's an absolute disgrace. It's a farce what's gone on. So let's get into it. So for anyone who's on YouTube, who's not on social media, basically the club have dropped a massive bollock and dropped a blunder. What happened was is that as a result of Newcastle getting 6,000 tickets for the upcoming Weartime derby on Saturday at the Stadium Light in the FA Cup third round, one of the suggestions was that Newcastle get one of the Black Cats bars. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Black Cats bar is basically Sunderland's hospitality area. It's meant to be specifically for home fans. It's well, at least I think it is. It's usually for home fans, and it's well, one of them was given to Newcastle. Now, I didn't particularly agree with that, but that's what happened. Then the club decided to drop a massive blunder yet again, and basically replace the Howay the lads with Howay, which is basically O instead of A, which is Newcastle's version of Howay the lads. On top of that, they put everything is black and white and basically accommodated our most fiercest and hated rivals. Well done, everybody. And yeah, I'm laughing because you either laugh or you get really, really annoyed and angry at this point. But other people have reacted. Jalsey and Steve and Jam Sani, just to name two of them. Only Fools and SCFC, I think, have reacted to that. Go and watch theirs. They're going to be much more coherent than what mine is. They're more straight to the point. But I needed to do something about this. I needed to sort of talk about, and I've got a semi-decent platform to talk about this. And it's stuff that's been on my mind for quite a while, and I think it's some stuff that needs to be said about how we are ran, particularly off the pitch, because quite frankly, and I'm going to swear here, the way we are ran off the pitch is a fucking disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. Um, One thing I've grown very, very tired of and sick of is when people point towards Christian Speakman for a lot of the failures at the club. Let's get one thing very clear straight away. This is nothing to do with Christian Speakman or Stuart Harvey. The job those two have done with what seems to be limited budgets from KLD has been impeccable. You can point criticism at the striker thing. That's absolutely fair enough. But let's wake up here, right? This Christian Speakman is one of the best things that's happened to this club in recent years. Yes, you can point criticism at the striker. Yes, you might not like him as a bloke, but this has nothing to do with him. Him and Stuart Harvey, in general, have bailed KLD out repeatedly again and again and again and again and again. It is just pathetic the way that we have acted in this instance. And yeah, Jamie, Jamie, I'm not going to pronounce your surname because I'll get it wrong. But basically, whoever decided this needs sacked and banned from the club. Some things are sacrilege. I think I've said that wrong as well. Andrew Robbins, how Michael KLD out. Bob Murray will be disgusted with Get This Davison and the rest of them out of the club. Liam, who is a Newcastle fan who watches me videos, even he says disgrace. I've even had Newcastle fans on social media telling me that this is a joke and the way that this has been done. I just cannot believe that we actually sanctioned this. How thick do you want to be? Look, so to be honest, Christian Speakman and Stuart Harvey have repeatedly made KLD look better than he's actually done here, and it's not just on the back of today. Even though today is absolutely bad enough, and again it's pathetic. You know, then that's your opinion, mate. But I still think Speakman deserves more credit than he's getting, if I'm honest. But yeah, you can disagree by all means, though. But let's be real here. KLD needs to start and actually Thane was the one who inspired my opinion, funnily enough, when he said last season, before obviously he had to leave YouTube, unfortunately, that KLD doesn't doesn't get enough criticism. And in my opinion, the one saving grace from this is that he might finally start to get criticised more. And just for the matter, let's read this little statement that the club put out in response to the justified uproar, sorry. See, I'm that annoyed that I can't even talk properly and be coherent. But it's just a couple of paragraphs. Listen to how pathetic this sounds. Sunderland AFC acknowledges that a serious error in judgment was made in relation to the Black Cats bar early this afternoon. We apologise to our fans for the understandable concern they have fairly voiced in response to, and this sentiment is shared by the club's ownership group and board of directors. Is it fuck? Who have requested an immediate review is undertaken to determine how this process unfolded. A direct decision has been taken by the ownership group and board of directors to return the space to its original state, and we once again apologise to our supporters that this was not addressed sooner. So, yeah, let's. What pathetic that is. That's absolutely ridiculous. First of all, there's a few points. First of all, how did KLD not know about this? Because there's been suggestions that KLD went nuts and didn't know what was happening. How can you not know about this sort of stuff that's going on? How can you not know? You are meant to be the majority shareholder. Yeah, you are meant to be the majority shareholder at the club, and you're oblivious, to be honest, for half of the time to what's going on at your own club, mate, of which you own. I can't remember the exact figures, but is it around two-thirds of the? Is it 60% of it? I think it is. So how can you not know for a start? And probably that's almost as bad as if you did know and still sanctioned it anyway. And that's on top of the flag that was up against Newcastle fans, up against sports washing, which has conveniently not been shown now. Funny that, isn't it? The next one is yeah. See, I can't get coherent. Another thing as well. It's not just off the back of today, right? Ever since it's come in, right? The way off the pitch we have been ran like a non-league club. And to be perfectly honest, that is an absolute insult to non-league clubs. I've said this on Twitter quite a few times that Hartlepool, South Shields, and Gateshead are probably ran better than Sunderland Association Football Club. Let me repeat that. South Shields, Hartlepool, and Gateshead, who are all non-league, are probably ran. I would be amazed if they are not ran better off the pitch than Sunderland. How pathetic and how tin pot, outright tin pot does that sound? You know, um, I know what Ranks is saying. I mean, KLD not knowing. The CEO of a company doesn't know every decision that is made. They trust their employees to own their departments. Yep, I get that. But if anything should come from this, then he should sack the lot of them, in my opinion, because let's get on. Here's another person who's escaped a lot of criticism. Steve Davison. Oh, but it's all right because you'll look into it. Like, no, sorry, like Steve Davison has got to either book his ideas up. I know apparently from what Nick Barnes has said, and I do trust Nick Barnes, this wasn't on Steve Davison. So I'm going to be fair here. If it's not on Steve Davison, fair enough. But he's been so lucky that we have done as well as we have on the pitch. He's ever since coming up, we finished sixth last season, and we're currently sixth in the championship. The way that the success on the pitch, despite some frustrations, has masked considerably the state of how it's been off the pitch. Again, it's not just off the back of this, although this is bad enough individually. Ever since they've come in, they've had to obviously strip back. They've had to absolutely strip back on, cutting our cloth accordingly. And in League One, I kind of understood that. I didn't agree with it necessarily, but I could kind of understand it. Now, I'm sorry, we have been out of League One for 18 months now. We have been out of League One for over a year and a half at this point. Why are we still ran like we're in a pandemic in League One? You can barely get hold of anyone at the ticket office. More often than not, from the bits I've heard, you cannot get any hold of anyone at the ticket office. We only have one club shop, and half the time the club shop, and at least until recently, the club shop wasn't even open on a regular basis. Hello, Daniel, by the way. But you know what? How can you be ran like this? How can KLD be happy with this? He's either an idiot for not knowing about it, or he's just not bothering to put more money and investment into the non-playing side of the club. I don't understand it. I don't. What was it saying? Maybe KLD has done this on purpose in an attempt to get out of the club because he knows fans are finally starting to point fingers at him. Maybe. I don't know. But the point was, we are ran so abysmally off the pitch. Like, there's been, like, if you look at the last couple of summers, right, when new kits have come out, there have been examples of fans wanting to physically give the club their money. And they can't do it because we are just understaffed. And the staff, and I feel for the staff at the club as well. The staff at the club, the non playing staff, will probably be horrendously overworked and the department criminally underfunded. This is what I'm talking about with KLD. Again, Christian Speakman and Stuart Harvey, say what you want about the two of them, especially Speakman, but let's get real. Let's wake up a bit. These two have masked KLD for so long, and it's about time more people start waking up and start pointing their fingers at it. Because KLD has escaped way too much criticism, in my opinion. Half the time, he's out in the southern of France or wherever he is, in the mountains or whatever it is, I don't really care. And he's oblivious to what's going on at the club. You know what? And yeah, I think that it's just absolutely ridiculous how this has been allowed to go on as long as it has. We are one of the biggest clubs in the country. I stand by it. We are in the top 10 biggest clubs in the country. Yes, I might be biased as a Sunderland fan, but if you look across, most people, when they view their ideal Premier Leagues, Sunderland are generally in 99% of the lists. Now, that doesn't mean anything, but the point I'm making is that a lot of people view us as a Premier League standard club. How about off the pitch we start acting like it? How about after the page we start actually acting like it? Do they read? I mean, and those people at the top who sanctioned this shambles clearly do not understand how big this game is for our supporters. Newcastle have got a big enough advantage as it is going into the game. Forget their form, forget their away form. They've got some quality individuals, quality players, and we will find it a very tough game at the weekend. We Colonel, do you know what? If you think that's deluded, then go, in my opinion. We are one of the top 10 biggest clubs in the country. It's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. So, yeah, at the end of the day, we are much bigger than what we are acting. We're much bigger than what we're acting off the pitch, and it's about time we start showing it. It's about time we absolutely start showing it. We have been ran so like tin pot for years now. And yes, you can point, and like I think it was a point that Thane made, and I want to bring it up actually, because I fully agree with him. Where was it? It was a point about Donald Methvin. We slated Donald and Methvin, but even they wouldn't have gone this low. Do you know what? I completely agree. I completely and utterly agree with that. I think it is one where even they wouldn't have been this stupid to do this. What part of KLD makes it? What part of who sanctioned this? What thing makes people think this was a good decision? There's only one reason, and one reason only why we've done it: money. Only reason they've done it. And yes, I understand you have to make money as a business. I completely understand and I agree with that. We need to be sustainable, and that's fair enough. I've got no problem with that. But I'm sorry, this is the one fixture you do not sell your soul for this. Because that's what essentially we've done. We've sold our soul to just give as much money as possible from Newcastle. And I don't blame Newcastle for wanting to get as much as what they did. I don't want to blame Newcastle for getting the 6,000 fans. I don't blame them for wanting to get as much as they can. That's their entitlement and their prerogative. But I am so furious to the point where I can't speak cohesively that Sunderland have somehow bent over backwards for them. That's what they've done. Make no mistake. They have bent over backwards for Newcastle United, and they are our most fiercest rivals. They are the club that we hate more than anything else. I don't, I just don't get it. Absolutely do not understand it. Let's go through some comments. Let's have a look. So even Liam, as a Newcastle fan, to back up my point, I'm not just being biased. Only clubs who are bigger than you is the Big Six, Everton, Aston Villa, and us. Not being biased. No, I completely agree. The Big Six, Everton, Aston Villa, and Newcastle are bigger than us. I completely accept that. There is not a single club other than that I think is bigger than Sunderland. Not a single one. And yes, there are some other big clubs. There's some other massive clubs in this list. Leeds, Forest, West Ham, just to name three of them. But I don't think any of them are bigger than us. Marco Del Guides. Sorry, mate, I probably got that wrong. There will be hell on Saturday. Richie, yeah, sorry, I think I did mention Everton in Liam's list. No, Everton are bigger than us. Fair enough. Like I've said, Everton, Aston Villa, Newcastle, and the Big Six, I think, are bigger than Sunderland. Apart from that, I don't think anyone else is. I really don't. If we hit our full-on potential, we should be a club pushing for European football. And I don't care if people think that's delusional. It's about time that stops being laughed at. Yeah, unpopular opinion, say there's a thing, but I do count Sunderland as bigger than the Mags, purely down to the number of titles we've won. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. I don't think the club owners must agree because they seem to be happy to be acting like a League Two side or a non-league side off the pitch. But yeah, I mean, they can put out all these little pathetic statements all they want, but the fact of the matter is the damage is done. And even then, there was suggestions that they're going to be taking the signs down. Again, damage is done. You don't. And why are we so accommodating for our rivals? Like this, I genuinely don't understand it. We've brawled over backwards and said, "There you go. Here's the big red carpet. You just go and walk all over us." You just go and walk all over us. And David Humphrey makes a point, and there was another one. Sorry, there was a couple of comments that said, um, there was another couple of comments that said about Jam Sani's video. Jam Sani, honestly, his video was so passionate and was so much better than what this is, honestly. But yeah, I don't blame him for being. I do not blame him for being as pissed off as he was because I'm getting pissed off just thinking about this. Um, Whoever sanctioned this needs to have a good hard look at themselves because they don't understand the significance of this game. They don't. Can you imagine if Newcastle were this stupid to do it the other way around, what the reaction would be from their supporters? In fact, if anybody, I've had a Sheffield Wednesday fan message me today saying that this is embarrassing. I'd be livid if we did this for Sheffield United. There is so host of other clubs. I've had a Leicester fan, Bristol City fan in the championship panel group chat that I'm in. A lot of them, they've said this is a joke. We've literally had other fans of other clubs saying this is a disgrace. And these people at the club need to seriously start waking up and realizing what they're doing. Andrew Robbins, Sam was brilliant, spoke on behalf of the fans. Yep, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Jam Sani was massive. And again, Jalsy and Steve, they're two excellent YouTubers as well. Go and watch them. But honestly, yeah, I think do you know what it is with KLD? Yeah, I think as SCFC Joe says, he has no backbone. Ticket situation has been a disgrace too. Again, no, it's not just this. It's the fact that we are literally underfunding our departments and overworking our staff. And this is where I criticize KLD. I understand we're not going to spunk loads and loads of money on players. I completely agree with that. However, for goodness sake, you need to start actually investing in certain parts of the infrastructure. The stadium looks like it could do with a bit of a makeover now. It could do with a bit of upgrading in terms of just like a general appearances. And I know that's a small thing, but it's like pride in your city and pride in your club. Um, we need to start investing into actual administration staff for the ticket office. We need to get rid of Steve Davison. And we also need to start looking at the club shop, expanding. Sunderland, I can't stress enough how big a brand Sunderland actually is. I know it's not as big as anywhere near as big in comparison to the big six, Newcastle, Everton, or Villa. We're not as big as them in terms of brands. But I can't stress enough how big we could be if we start waking up and acting like it. I can't stress enough of that. And it's easier to buy a Newcastle shirt in Sunderland than it is to buy a Sunderland shirt in Sunderland. Let that sink in for a minute. At what point are the owner, is KLD, Steve Davison, whoever else it is, the people that are involved in the non-playing side of the pitch, when are we actually going to start stepping up and taking responsibility? And I'm sick to death of hearing this. Oh, we'll look into it, but really nothing's going to change. No, sorry, like we need to start seeing some action here, and we need to start seeing that this club, either these people need to step up considerably and actually look at what's going on and start acting like the size of the club we are, or they need to get out of the club and get people in that are going to actually do that. Um, Emmanuel Alfreus, mate, sorry, I've probably got that wrong. Has KLD actually done anything useful for the club apart since he took over, apart from running the club? It's a fair question. Again, it comes back to the point. I think Speakman and Harvey have masked over a lot of a lot of the problems off the pitch. And again, at the end of the day, something's got to be done about it. Liam, in your opinion, who is bigger, Sunderland or Nottingham Forest? Why us? Forest are a massive club, don't get me wrong, but I think our potential's bigger than Forest's. But again, we have to be able to act on our potential and get it right in order to do it. Don't let anyone if anyone says that's delusional, they don't know football, in my opinion, because you can't, because again, if you look at what's going on with Newcastle, yes, they're bigger than us, but I don't care. You just cannot. You can't have a standard for them where they should be competing for trophies and then say Sunderland shouldn't be a club competing at minimum in the top half of the Premier League for European football. Don't care. It's not delusional. For me, it's perfectly reasonable. And at the end of the day, come on. We're getting shown up all over the place. We're getting shown up. Yeah, guys, I'm going to end it in a minute. I'm getting too annoyed. And sorry, guys, I know this isn't very good. It's not very good. It's just off the cuff. I wasn't even planning to do a live stream. I didn't even want to do a video talking about this. But at some point, people are going to have to start. Those at the club are going to have to start waking up and realizing how they are really pissing off a lot of the fan base here. Because and even if you look at it, take the emotion out of it, they're pissing off a lot of their customer base. Like they're pissing off a lot of people who pay for a lot of things at the club. And you're going to lose supporters if you carry on the way this is going. On the pitch, I think we've generally done very well since we've come up from League One. But enough's enough. As the title of the video says, enough is enough. Something's got to start improving about this. Let's quickly go through some more comments before I start to wrap it up because I'm going on the first preview in less than 10 minutes. So that's going to be fun. Some of them were way bigger than Chelsea and Man City before the takeovers. Yeah, but then apparently only football's the last 20 years. You don't look at overall history. No one looks at overall history anymore. Obviously, that's sarcasm, but there you go. David Umbrey can only think that because there's been so much turnover of staff since the last derby that no one there understands. It's embarrassing. Completely agree, mate. Denny McDonough, they have reconsidered because the FA were looking into it. What would have happened if the FA didn't get involved? Frightening. That's all I'll say. Ethan Todd, shout out, mate. Hit a nail on the head as usual, mate. We look so small time yet again. Yep, and we shouldn't be. Absolutely shouldn't be. Deep got hi, good friend. And Jam Sonny is totally spot on as well as Jalsey and his buddy Steve Bisky. But the former was totally feels about this with his statement, and the owner must face the music. Yeah, Kelly's got to face a lot of backlash for this and a lot of criticism. Alt ending, nothing to buy in the club shop anyway. So my alt ending, by the way, alt ending's YouTube is excellent. Goes into much more depth than I ever do. Nothing to buy in the club shop anyway. Told my little boy this music and told there was no shirts until next season. Until next season! I rest my case. Sorry, mate. That is absolutely ridiculous. There you go. If that's an example of how small time we act, alt ending's comment has just proven it. Sunderland, wake up. Liam, look how Brighton's progressed. You're much bigger than them. Completely agree. That's what annoys me. If we get the right owners, we could do things. The potential is massive for us. We've got the history and fan base, but too many chances have ran this club long. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Like, and by the way, let's get this out of the way. All the mags can take the mick out of, oh, the empty seats, look at the empty seats at the Stadium of Light. No, if you had a fraction, if you had to put up with a fraction of what we've had to put up with the last 6, 7 years, you'd have exactly the same thing. Don't let any delusional Newcastle fans tell you differently. The sensible ones will acknowledge that we've been through much more than what they think they have. But let's be real. No. We've put up with so much. The only clubs I can think of who've put up with a lot more than us is probably the likes of Bolton, Bury, of course. Clubs that, Macclesfield, clubs that, yeah, on paper are smaller, although Bolton's not a small club. But this is a lot of clubs have gone. Some clubs have gone through worse than we have, but you'll not find many that have gone through the ring more than Sunderland. And so, David Humphrey, off topic, but do you think we should play five at the back like we did against Leeds? I wouldn't mind employing the tactics we did against Leeds. I think that's the only way that we're going to have a chance of winning this game. Liam said, Leighton Orient, Hereford United, Gateshead. Yep, exactly. Fair enough. SFG do not mention some people can't afford the season tickets or work hard and can't get the matches consistently. Yep. I think some people, I think the fans have just been completely spat on here with this. With some of Newcastle, some Sunderland fans in the North Stand being booted out for the sake of Newcastle fans. Again, I know Lauren Kenny, who's in the comments, she and her granddad, if she won't mind me saying, should be sitting in the North Stand. But no, we're going to boot them out, kick them to another part of the stadium, and yeah. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is, I've said it before, but this isn't good for you to watch. I need to get off. But thanks to everyone who did watch. I've got over 100 people at this point watching. Hit the like button and subscribe. I'm near 5K, and if you're not a regular sub, then feel free to just click the subscribe button. As Sean Middleton says, it's free and doesn't cost a penny. Lindsay Southerly, we traveled 300-mile round trip for home games and got shafted from our season ticket seat. Lindsay, there you go. So someone who's travelled 300-mile round trip for home games has been spat on and booted out of her seat. Pathetic, Sunderland. Then the whole situation is up there as bad as back-to-back relegation. So embarrassing. Alternative, relax. See you at the weekend. Yeah, Sunderland definitely don't make it easy to relax. Guys, thanks very much for watching. I'll probably see you. I'll see you for my video at the weekend. Last thing I'll say is, as I said before, ignore that comment who said that we're deluded saying top 10 clubs in the country. That's ridiculous. Like, we are one of the biggest clubs in the country. Start acting like it off the pitch, Sunderland. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of your customer base. You've got the ingredients on the pitch. You just need to add a couple of ingredients in the window. But if you can get this right, then what could happen? Like, honestly, what could happen? We could take off so considerably if we just put the application into it. Yep. KLD's young Mike Ashley. Thane says, remember KLD outspread the word. Yep. At this point, I wouldn't complain if he went. I really wouldn't complain if he went. I think he's been lucky to avoid criticism for as long as he has. And I want to see KLD, whatever KLD does from here, the damage again has already been done at this point. You can't undo it. You can claim out like, oh, we've took the things down. Doesn't matter. Should never have been put up in the first place. Stop spitting on the face of the supporters who've been through enough. Start acting like the club you are. Stop acting like a tin pot non-league side. Actually, no, that's harsh on non-league side. Sorry, I'll take the word tin pot out of it. Start actually acting like the size of the club you are. Stop acting like a non-league side off the pitch. And start taking into account the supporter base that want to give you their money. Stop running yourselves like just Gateshead or Hartlepool or South Shields. And again, they're ran better than us. I'll be surprised if they're not. Then and Sartori as well. Yep, absolutely. Sartori needs to start facing accountability. What's he done for the club since he's been here? Absolutely nothing. Right. I actually will go here. So, yeah, thanks very much, guys, for watching. I'll see you at the weekend. Not looking forward to it now. See you guys later. Thanks again for the love and support, and stay safe as always.